Hiya! The purpose of this video is to show you how to create named UCSs so that you can easily recall views that you've created and hopefully make your life a little bit easier as you're trying to manage units that may or may not be oriented parallel or perpendicular to the X or Y axis. So to show you this, I just have created this, hypothetical weirdly shaped wall. And you'll notice that several of these surfaces, if we look at this just in our plan view, several of these surfaces are not parallel to the UCS. If this was a flat that I wanted to build right here and then plate, I would probably have some trouble trying to do that. In fact, if I didn't know how to change my UCS and then plate based off of that UCS with ViewBase, I would have to copy this, turn it so that it is sitting in the correct orientation, and then plate the copy, which works. It's a fine way to do it. It does mean that there's extra stuff in your drawing that you may not necessarily want. There's probably a duplicate of something that you may not want. So this is the way to navigate the UCS specifically. There's a different video about plating with a weird UCS. But here we go. So let's start with this wall. Let's call this the stage right wall. And I want to have a UCS that will show me the front of this wall, like this surface here that my cursor is hovering over. To do that, I'm going to type UCS. It's going to ask me to specify the origin. And just to make my life easier, I'm going to use the O snaps to help me do that. It's asking me for a location on a plane. So I'm going to click in the corner, and then it's asking for me to specify a point on the x-axis. So I will click to the other corner, and now it's going to ask me to specify a point on the xy plane. So as I do this, you'll notice that that z-axis is kind of flipping around and changing spots with the y. You just want to be careful that you're doing it onto the correct plane and onto the correct surface. So I'm going to use that O snap in the corner to make sure that I'm lined up correctly. Now that I have this UCS, I want to be able to recall it easily, and the way that you do that is by naming it. So I'm going to right click on my UCS and select named UCS, and then I'm going to save it as stage right flat front for stage right flat front view. I'm going to hit enter to accept it, and you'll notice that it pops up here. Nice. You'll also notice that the global coordinates, like the northeast, southwest, remain the same, but that the orientation of my view cube within the global coordinates has now changed, so that if I select stage right flat front, the top view is looking at the front at the XY plane of this custom UCS. Let's take a look at that. It does tend to want to orient it in some wonkadoo way. That's okay. So now what I'm looking at is the straight on view of that wall. And you can see that if I rotate up a bit, that I was in the straight on view. Pretty cool, huh? Kind of love it. Let's do that again for these other two walls, just so that we get a good idea of how to do it. So once again, I'm going to type UCS. This time, instead of doing a front view, let me do a top view. So I'm going to click into this corner. I'm going to click onto this other corner, still using my O snaps as my guide. And then I'm going to click anywhere in the XY plane. And this, because I started this at the top, oh wait, I was going to do a top view anyway. So this point right here should be in the XY plane. I'm going to click to accept it. Right click to name it, hit save. So I'm going to call this the center left flat top. And now I can easily recall that view. And with this one in particular, it's easy to see that this is indeed parallel to my UCS. Again, if I go back to the regular old top view, it will put the UCS back where it came from, which is really kind of lovely. Let's do one more on this unit here. or well, it's not even a unit, just a wall. So we'll do that on this wall. I'm going to type UCS. I'm going to specify the origin. Oh, let's try something else. Let's say I want to see the back of it. I could absolutely do that. I just have to start it from the back. So there's my origin, my X. I move into the Y like that. And now my Z is positive coming towards me into the screen, but that is in fact moving to the global northeast relative to the rest of the drawing. Again, I'm going to right click, I'm going to name it, I'm going to save it, and this will be stage left, flat, rear. So now I have all of these different views that I can easily recall and look at based on these custom UCSs, and then I can navigate it with my view cube. Flat rear, let's go here. I can even that's probably the easiest way, to just rotate around to where I want it to be and then orient it in whichever way is useful. And you can see here it's easy to navigate through those different views. For me, when I do this, the advantage is that I can now manipulate things relative to X, Y, and Z in really specific ways. To get into that would be a much longer video, I think, but if you're interested in how I tend to use this, you're welcome to ask. If you have any questions, let me know. And until then, Laura out.